Hi, my name's Liz Wallace and welcome to Meals on Wheels Food Safety Training Course number 2, and this is for delivery people. If you're doing this course, then you will have already completed course number 1, which was an introduction. And in that introduction you will remember that we serve at Meals on Wheels people who are at risk, sensitive consumers who are at risk, and these are the ones here. So we serve the elderly, we serve ill and convalescing people and people with weakened immune systems. So all of these people have much less resistance to any sorts of bacteria or contamination in meals than you or I do. Now just a little bit on bacteria, just to let you know a little bit about it before we go on. Bacteria need 4 main things. They need food, they need moisture, they need warmth, and they need time. These are the same sorts of things as we need because we're basically one big walking bacteria. Now the food that they need proteins or some other sort of nutrient. The main things are meat, poultry, shellfish, milk, dairy, eggs, all of those sorts of things. That's no real surprise that we've got a lot of bacteria in those sorts of things, but one of the things that's not, or two of the things that are not normally associated are rice and pasta. And there's a lot of nutrient and a lot of potential for bacteria to multiply in those things. All of those things, the meat, the poultry, the eggs, the shellfish, the rice, the pasta, they are all especially high risk when they're cooked and ready to eat. And that's what we have in our meals, in the meal packs that we're taking out. They are high risk foods when they're ready to eat, and that's what the foods are, ready to eat. The next thing that bacteria need is moisture. They need moisture to be able to multiply. They can't multiply in something which is dry. So while you have dried milk or dried eggs or dried rice or dried pasta, then the bacteria can't multiply. There will still be bacteria in that food, even though it's dry. Once you add the moisture back in, once you reconstitute it or you cook the rice or you cook the pasta, once you've done that, you've given the bacteria what they need to be able to start multiplying again. So then you've given them the moisture to multiply. And the meal packs that we send out, they will have moist food in it. They're going to have proteins or some sort of nutrient, and they're going to have moist food, ready to eat food. Once food is ready to eat, that's when it's most vulnerable, because the next thing that happens is you eat it. It's not going to be cooked anymore, nothing else is going to happen to it, you're just going to eat it. The next thing is warmth. Bacteria need a certain level of warmth to be able to multiply. They need a zone which is called the temperature danger zone, and that's between 5 and 60 degrees. And right in the middle of between 5 and 60 degrees is 37 degrees, and that's our body temperature. So they need a certain level of warmth. Some bacteria are happier multiplying at a little bit lower temperatures, some are higher temperatures, but the majority will multiply very, very happily and very, very fast between 5 and 60 degrees. 5 should be the upper level for your fridge. Your fridge should always be below 5 degrees. And 60 degrees is the lowest temperature for holding hot food. The last thing that bacteria need to be able to multiply is time. They need time to be able to grow and to multiply. So given all of these other conditions, if you leave something out and it's in the temperature danger zone and it's a nutritious thing and it's moist and it's got moisture in it, and it's in the temperature danger zone, then the bacteria will start to multiply, and they'll multiply very, very happily. Things will still go off in your fridge, the bacteria will still multiply in your fridge, but it's greatly slowed. That's why we're given, by the Food Standards Organisation, we're given our temperature danger zone as between 5 and 60 degrees. Now, delivery of the meals. When you're receiving the meals, check the look of the outside trays. When you're looking at them in the esky, counting them, whatever, just take a little bit of a look. You don't have to pull each one out and examine it. Just look inside the esky, and as you're counting, make sure everything looks to be okay. There's no great amounts of food on the outside or open containers, that everything looks fine with the meals. Because once you accept those meals, they're your responsibility. So check the outside of the packs, check the drinks and the desserts, make sure everything generally looks okay with it. If there's been someone who's not the regular person doing the meals, getting the meals ready for the delivery run, there could be a problem and they may not even know. So you need to bring something up if you find a problem. Now the meals and the desserts and the drinks are usually received chilled. And if they're received chilled, then you need to keep them that way. So there should be ice bricks, they should be frozen. The ice bricks should be in with the meals in the eskies already. And when you're counting the meals, the inside of the eskies should feel cold. If it feels warm in any way, then there's probably been some sort of a problem. You may need to check something. You may need to get extra ice bricks just to make sure that everything stays cold. Make sure that the ice bricks are frozen. If you find some that are not, then call someone over, let them know, and get them to bring you another one. The ice bricks and the cool blocks and all of that sort of thing are part of your receiving procedures on Meals on Wheels, so you need to make sure that when you receive everything, it's going to stay cold. Now, if there's anything wrong in any way, before you leave leave where you're picking them up, make sure you talk to someone, tell someone. Now, the safe temperatures for meals are below 5 degrees for your chilled meals and above 60 degrees for your hot meals. So make sure if you're picking up a hot meal for delivery, make sure it's too hot to touch. If it's not hot enough, let someone know. They may need to stick it back in a microwave or something like that, just for a couple of seconds, just to give it another burst. If you're picking up frozen meals need to be hard frozen. So just press a couple of packs. If you find something that's a little bit soggy, let someone know. You must take responsibility for all of these meals. So once you've received them, they're your responsibility from then on until you deliver them to the clients. Now, Meals on Wheels have food safety systems in place, great food safety systems in place, which comply to the National Food Safety Standards. So there are procedures in place for how you have to pick meals up and how you deliver meals, for everything to do with a meal run. This is one of the main things that Meals on Wheels do. So they have procedures in place for all of these things. If you're not sure what you need to do, you need to ask somebody. Okay, now, delivery. Now, deliver the meals on the run as quickly as possible. Don't stop in the middle of a meal run to do your shopping and leave all of the meals in a hot car. When the Meals on Wheels people put all of their procedures in place, they take into account the number of meals on a run, the size of the eskies, and the length of time that it takes to do a run. So make sure you still talk to people when you deliver the meals. That chat time is extremely important. You may be the only person that they see all day, so chat time is taken into account when Meals on Wheels put in their procedures for the delivery runs. Now if you have a cold or a flu or diarrhea or vomiting or any sort of thing like this, you may need to let someone else do the run. Your body is trying to get rid of a huge amount of bacteria to make you well. That's why you've got these symptoms that you've got. And you don't want to then take that bacteria into someone else's house where these people are people at risk and they're sensitive. If you bring that amount of bacteria, diarrhea, vomiting, the flu, into an elderly or ill and convalescing or weakened immune systems person's house, you could make them very, very ill, hospitalise them, or even worse. So Meals on Wheels take all of this into consideration, and you need to talk to your coordinator or your contact at Meals on Wheels if you have anything like that before you do any sort of a run. If you went to someone else's house, one of the client's house, and they're not exactly the cleanest people on earth, then you may need to wash your hands before you continue with the run. I keep a packet of handy wipes in my car, so if I've gone into a place and it's not the cleanest, then I'll just use handy wipes in my car before I continue on the run, and absolutely before I touch anybody else's meal. If you pat their dog or something like that, then deal with their meal or something first, deal with the meal, put it all away, make sure everything's okay, pat the dog, wash your hands, or use handy wipes or something when you get back to the car. Don't introduce a greater amount of bacteria into the system of the next person that you're going to go to. Don't take that bacteria from the house that's not so clean or from the dog and give it to the next person that you deliver to, because any of these people could end up a lot worse if you bring that bacteria with you. Now also, when you're storing a meal in someone's fridge, If you see anything which is not as it should be, if you see something which is being contaminated in their fridge, then you need to do something about it. You need to let them know, and you need to fix it up for them because they may not see it. For instance, if there was a packet of meat and it was sitting in the fridge and sitting up high, and it was dripping blood down onto something else below it, which was, say, a ready-to-eat, could be a ready-to-eat meal, could be a packet of ham or cheese, could be fruit or vegetables. If it's dripping down onto that, onto the ready-to-eat product, or the ready-to-eat food, then do something about it. You need to get that meat out, put it on a plate, put some Gladdy over it or something, put it back into the fridge, and then clean up where it's been dripping down. If it's been dripping onto some fruit and veg, wash it off in the sink for them and pop it back into the fridge. But you need to do something about it. They may not see that, and if they eat that ready-to-eat product, a ham or something like that, or the fruit and vegetables, if they eat it without cooking it and they don't know that blood's there, then that bacteria could give them some sort of food poisoning. They could ingest that bacteria and it could give them food poisoning. So if you see something that's not quite right, fix it up for them while you're there. It's all taken into consideration when Meals on Wheels do the procedures and decide on the length of meal runs, etc. Everything that's a ready-to-eat product is a vulnerable product, and when that product, ready to eat, is contaminated further, then that's when it causes a problem, and especially for these guys here. If you find any problems at all when you're on a meal run, let your coordinator know. Coordinators need to know these things. They do runs themselves and they work enormous hours, a lot of these guys. The coordinators are there not for the money, they're there because they want to help people. And when coordinators do the runs, they may not see something that you have seen. If you see something that's wrong, tell your coordinator so that it can be fixed up. It needs to be fixed up for the next person. The main thing is to protect these sensitive consumers. Everything is done to protect these guys and to give them nutritious, safe meals to eat. Meals on Wheels have procedures in place for all of these things that we've just discussed. So you need to make sure that you rigidly follow these procedures. If you're not sure what they are, ask. These procedures are there to protect you as a delivery person, to protect Meals on Wheels, to make sure that things are done correctly as per the food standards, and mostly to protect these guys so they get a safe and nutritious meal to eat. So if you're a food handler in any capacity, take care of the food while it's under your control. Make sure that you take ownership of that and take care of it and make sure that a safe and nutritious meal is delivered to these guys. If you have any questions at all about any of the procedures that you need to follow, talk to your coordinator, ask for an explanation, find out what it is that you don't know. If you're not sure what you need to do, talk to the coordinators and ask them, because they are the ones that you need to go to. These are the guys who are the authority on all of this. Thank you so much for helping Meals on Wheels, and thank you for listening.